is Crystal Cameron. I'm a singer-songwriter from Claysburg, Pennsylvania, currently residing in Dallas, Texas. The reason why I'm making this video today is really to connect with your heart more. A lot of you guys know I'm in ministry. I'm a Christian and gospel singer-songwriter, and I really just want you guys to connect with me more and understand my heart and the reason why I am doing everything I'm doing right now. All I need is you. All I need is us. All I need is a lifetime to love you so much. I actually started using drugs when I was 15 years old. I started smoking weed first, and I can remember always saying that I would never try anything more. Basically, weed turned into other drugs. I started taking pills, any type of speed. I also started using cocaine as well. And that was something I can specifically remember I said I would never do. So basically, my life became very dark at a very young age. I started singing in clubs at the age of like 16. That became full-time when I was 18 years old. So my life was completely a big party. I felt very lost. I felt like at that time, that was my only option, although I knew there was something better for me.
Every day that I live, Lord, you become more real to me. I love.
During that time, I had a friend that was supposed to bring cocaine back to me that night, and he came back, but he didn't have cocaine. He had heroin. And I can remember that night actually contemplating doing it just because I wanted to feel that next level, that high that I couldn't feel because he didn't bring that back to me. I always wonder what would have happened if I would have tried and fallen into that trap. And unfortunately, that friend is no longer here with me. He died when he was 24.
So real, so real.
I moved to Dallas, Texas when I was 20, and I was invited to the Potter's House, which is a church here locally. I was really searching for myself at that time, and my first day there, they did an altar call. I didn't even know what an altar call was, but I went to the altar. I actually ran to the altar, and my life has completely changed since then. Basically, I started doing a Christian album a few years later, and in the process of doing that, I got pregnant, and I wasn't married. So I felt very embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I felt afraid to tell a lot of my Christian friends. So I ran back to Pennsylvania, my hometown, and I had my son. And God broke a lot of things off of me during that time.
This is my prayer for all the broken hearted to feel your love.
So when my son was actually 8 months old, I also became homeless. And like I said, I've made some bad decisions in my life, and I lost completely everything. I never allowed myself to feel depressed. I couldn't. Every time I looked at him, it gave me a reason to smile and gave me a reason to hold on to hope. It showed me something so special about life and how to love in a way that I never knew how to love before. One of the giftings that God has given me is healing. Healing comes through music, but it also comes in the way that we honor our bodies in our temple and take care of ourselves. When my son was 2, he started having seizures. One of the times he had a seizure, the paramedics came and they overdosed him. They gave him an adult dosage of an anti-seizure medicine. And basically it was too much for his little body. He stopped breathing. And by the grace of God, my son is still alive. It was the worst day of my life. Another lesson I had learned throughout this is that not always man knows what's best, and that really tuning into the voice of God to understand how healing happens. I prayed about it and I dug into it, and basically found out through a sleep study that he had obstructive sleep apnea. And by getting him a CPAP, and I started doing castor oil rubs on him to help with any type of inflammation, to help with blood flow to the brain and supplements, he is now 1.5 years seizure-free. So I praise God so much for second chances and third chances and fourth chances, because the fact that I'm alive right now and the fact my son is alive right now is a blessing.
Can you make me better? Better than yesterday? Can you make me better?
So what I realized so much is that God uses broken people. God uses your story. God uses what you've been through to glorify Him. I'm talking to the person that has just stolen. I'm talking to the person that's been drunk, that's been high. I'm talking to the girl that just had an abortion. I'm talking to the dirtiest of all sin, that God's grace is above that. God's grace is above it all, and His love covers all that. When you realize that He will use your story for the good, to make a difference in the world. I mean, I could be dead right now, but He turned my life around, and He's using me in ministry, and that if He can do it for me, He can do it for anybody.
Some people worry and get real down. Some people think that the world ain't round.
Thank you all for listening to my testimony. My website is www.crystalcameramusic.com, and also I'll be releasing a project here in the next few months, and all these songs, mostly all of them, I wrote, so that share some of my stories and my testimony, and so you can connect a little bit more with me and the reason why I do what I do, because I love you all. That's why I did this video tonight. 2 years ago, I was afraid to speak. I could only sing when I got up in front of an audience. So God took that fear away from me, and I'm no longer afraid to speak and share His word and share all the great things that He's done for me, and I know that He can do for you. God bless you all, and the best is yet to come.